If you guys have been subscribed to me for a sec, you guys will know that I have been on a length retention journey, and I'm still on a length retention journey. If you're new here, this basically came when I decided to become a straight hair natural almost 2 years ago, wearing my hair in its curly and textured state back to back for a good few years. I then decided to big chop, or do what my version of the big chop was, which was cut my hair to like here, and have been on a length retention journey ever since. If you guys are new here, I'm a straight haired natural who wears my hair straight 100% of the time, and I'm currently using sew-ins and weave as a protective style means to grow my hair underneath. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking specifically about why proteins have been the one thing that has caused my hair to transform from this to this in the space of 1.5 years. So let's get into the video. Before we get into the fact that why hair needs lots of protein, we need to understand the actual structure of our hair and know that our hair is protein. Our hair is made up of 99 something ridiculous percent of protein. Proteins are a chain of amino acids that are bound together in different shapes, different forms, in order to create what is our hair. Our hair is formed of bonds, and our hair is formed of proteins. And these bonds hold these proteins together in order to form our hair. And so because of that, there are two surefire ways in repairing your hair. One of them being bond builders, and one of them being proteins and protein treatments. I'm not going to get into bond builders today. I've got a separate video that touches on bond builders, how they work, how they repair their hair, how often you should be using bond builders, etc, etc. I'll have that linked down below, or like in the cards up here. But in today's video, we're going to be talking strictly protein and why your hair needs lots of it. Using protein to repair your hair happens when you add a product that contains any kind of protein within your hair, and the way it works is by repairing your hair from the outside, as opposed to bond builders that repair your hair from the inside. Proteins repair your hair by forming a coating on your hair, filling gaps within your cuticle layers, and overall improving the mechanical strength of your hair. So like the physical, like, your hair is in constant need of repair. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do to it. Hair damage does not always have to be excessive and mega and visible and in the form of like breakage and split ends and all those types of things. You can literally damage your hair by brushing it. You can literally damage your hair by exposing it to too much sunlight. You can damage your hair by literally just doing all of the right things. There can still be some form of damage that can occur in your hair, and if that damage is left unrepaired, that's when it can start to lead to excessive damage, split ends, breakage, and you end up having to cut your hair a lot more in trims, and you don't retain the length that you want to retain. So in order to ensure that your hair stays healthy, use proteins constantly within your hair routine to repair that little amount of damage, so that you don't end up with a big amount of damage. Now, one of the main reasons why I ended up with my hair in this state is because I was too heavily focused on moisture and not heavily focused on protein. Now the two are a balance, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit later on in the video, that I find that a lot of naturalistas, we are so heavily focused on moisturizing my hair. I need my hair moisturized, I need it hydrated, and we're doing LCO, we're doing LOC, we're using 3 different types of leave-ins in one go. And whilst there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, I think that sometimes we do neglect the protein side of our hair because we see dryness as being our main hair concern. And one of the common misconceptions I always hear is that we have protein sensitive hair, and that we have a lot of protein in our hair, and that a lot of people can suffer from what's called protein overload. Now, what is protein overload? Protein overload is when your hair absorbs too much protein in one go, and you can start to feel this like hay-like, stiff-like feeling. And it's basically when you've overdone it with the protein. Now, there are 2 main reasons that I want to touch on why protein overload happens and how you can avoid it to ensure that you're still getting the protein that you need within your hair to repair it and retain length, but you're not overdoing it and getting that like overload. Reason number 1, ironically, is lack of moisture. If your hair is not effectively moisturized and you pack in loads of protein, what that's going to do is make it feel dry, stiff, brittle, because your hair aims to maintain a protein moisture balance. And what that means is that the moisture, aka hydration, within your hair is the water content, and the protein is what's on the surface of your hair, keeping that hydration in. So if there is no hydration in your hair to kind of keep in, what you're essentially doing is sealing in dryness into your hair. Number 2 is another big reason of why you experience protein overload, is because of the nature of the proteins that you are using. Remember that all hair needs protein, regardless of how much protein that you have in your hair. A lot of people think that because our hair is made up of majority protein, it's got lots of protein, doesn't need any more. That's not the case. It's the same way that humans are made of like 50 to 75% water, but we still need to drink water every single day to maintain our entire body. The size of the proteins that you are using matters. So one of my all-time favorite products, guys, I swear down, and if you're not new here, you would have heard me banging on about this product so many times, is the Hydro LPP treatment. And the LPP literally stands for low molecular polypeptide treatment, and what that basically means is it's a small chain protein. So it's a small chain protein treatment, which means you can use loads of it and not get protein overload because it's got smaller proteins. Think of your hair, so you know you've got your outer hair structure and your cuticles, and they're kind of packed together, and what proteins do is they kind of try and slot in through the gaps of those cuticles in order to increase the mechanical integrity of your hair, right? So if you've got large proteins, what they can tend to do is make your hair very brittle very quickly because they're so big and they just pack loads into there, and your hair can become stiff and rigid. But if you have proteins that are like smaller and they're slotting into the cuticles, what they tend to do is not overload your hair in a small amount of time. So if you're somebody who feels like you experience protein overload quite quickly, or your moisture levels in your hair aren't always at their optimum, look for anything like the LPP treatment that actually states low molecular polypeptide, or look for something that says silk protein. Silk protein is another kind of small chain protein that is used a lot in hair products. And on the flip side, keratin is a larger molecule. A lot of the times it comes in a hydrolyzed form so that our hair can actually absorb it, but keratin is classed as a larger chain protein. Another one is heavy treatments like the AlphaG two-step protein treatment. Contains very large proteins, and those types of proteins are usually supposed to be used as a saving grace to your hair once it's reached a point of damage that's like next level. I absolutely love is the Redken Extreme line. So I use their Extreme Anti-Snap as a leave-in conditioner. It contains a good amount of protein to strengthen their hair, but still not like to get protein overload. In summary, if you are looking to retain length and grow your hair, incorporating proteins into your hair routine is going to be an absolute key to making sure that your hair actually grows to its healthy state. So don't shy away from using proteins, and don't spend too much time just trying to focus on moisturizing your hair and think that that's what's going to bring the length retention, because it doesn't always. So that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. I'm pretty sure there's probably the idea of proteins is definitely going to crop up at some point again on my channel because proteins are life. Let me know if you guys have any recommendations of products that you have that you love that contain protein that don't give you overload, because I would love to try them. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in my next one.